You push open the rusted iron gate at exactly 3:07 a.m. A cold gust of air slams you against the peeling walls. You should have turned back, but curiosity drags you forward. The corridor stretches on, slick with condensation. Faded paint peels like dead skin. Your flashlight beam trembles as you step over broken tiles. The smell of rot fills your lungs. Every footstep echoes louder than your racing heartbeat. You imagine the patients who once wandered here, their figures drifting at the edge of your vision. A distant door creaks. You freeze. Silence answers. You remember the rumor. In Ward C, a misdiagnosed patient died at 3:07 a.m. They say her spirit still wanders. Some locals reported laughter in the dark. Others heard crying, pleading voices begging for help that never came. You don't believe in ghosts. Yet, tonight, you'll find proof. The hallway forks. Left leads deeper into the asylum's bowels. Right loops back toward the exit. Your every instinct screams to flee. But something an unearthly whisper pulls you left. You follow the voice. Your flashlight flickers off. Total darkness. Panicked, you fumble the switch. A fleeting shape crosses your path. A hunched figure retreats behind a decaying curtain. You inhale and step through the threshold. Ward C, rusted beds line the walls, mattresses stained beyond recognition. Window frames hang loose like empty eye sockets. A single clock stands in the corner, hands frozen at 3:06. You glance up, heart hammering. 1 minute until the hour. Your breath puffs in the frigid air. You raise the flashlight toward the ceiling. Loose plaster dangles, threatening to fall. You remember the stories of cold spots, areas where ghosts gather. You stand between two beds. The beam lands on a small wooden chair. On it, a patient's shoe, a child's size. Anxiety wells in your throat. You step closer. The shoe moves. It slides 2 inches to the right. You jerk back, jaw clenched. You tell yourself it's condensation, but your blood runs ice cold. The clock ticks over, 3:07 a.m. The second hand clicks into place. You exhale. Nothing happens. Then a faint giggle. High-pitched, delicate, deranged. You spin. Empty walkway. The sound echoes again directly behind you. Your skin prickles. You dare not look. A soft sob drifts through the room. Your name whispered. One breath. Help me. Another. Please. The voice trembles with sorrow. Your legs refuse to move. You shine the beam toward the source. The light reveals a pale figure perched on the edge of the bed. Long hair matted with dried blood. Eyes sunken but burning. A thin gown drenched in grime. You expect the figure to vanish. It stays. The flashlight flickers. In that momentary blackness, the ghost raises her head. Mouth twisting into a grin too wide, too human. You shudder in terror. Then the light steadies. She's gone. The bed is empty. The clock's hands remain frozen at 3:07. You swallow. You should escape. Every nerve screams to run. Instead, you step forward. A record player sits on a side table, half buried in debris. Dust covers the vinyl. You lift it. The needle arm quivers, then snaps into place. Scratchy music emerges. A children's lullaby, warped and slow. You recognize the melody. The one the patient sang to soothe herself. Goose flesh erupts on your arms. The room temperature plunges. You exhale a cloud of steam. The lullaby speeds up unnaturally, warping higher and higher in pitch. Somewhere behind you, laughter cracks like a whip. You whirl around. Your flashlight reveals dozens of tiny footprints traced in dust, leading toward the hallway. A man's heavy boots, a child's quick steps, all ending at the room's center, as though converging for a meeting. What were they doing here? You remember the rumor of group therapy, but the footprints, no living being, could have made such perfect patterns this late. You crouch to inspect. The dust falls from between the prints, revealing something written on the floor in charcoal. I never left. Your chest tightens. The words are smeared, as if a hand wrote them in desperation. A sudden crash makes you spin again. The record player stops. Silence returns. You breathe fast. The walls shift, groaning under unseen weight. The sheets of metal debris on the ceiling rattle. From the next room, you hear a patient scream raw and panicked. You can't tell if it's past or present. You inch toward the open doorway. Inside, a wheelchair lies overturned. Its wheels twitch, as if caught in a storm. You shine your light downward. The word "run" scratched into the floorboards, deep and jagged. You don't need another invitation. You sprint back toward the hallway. The flashlight catches a shape darting ahead too quick to identify. You skid to a halt as the exit door slams shut on its own. Darkness swallows you again. You bang on the door. Nothing. Then you hear the crunch of footsteps circling outside. Slow, deliberate. You pound louder. The handle rattles but doesn't budge. A voice whispers directly behind. Stay. No echo. Right in your ear. Your torch falls to the floor, clattering across broken tiles. Sparks of light trace the perimeter in a fading halo. You dive for it, hands trembling. The doorknob turns. You wrench it open. A blast of warmer air hits your face. You tumble outside. The gate stands ajar as though welcoming you back. You straighten and look up at the asylum windows. In one shattered pane, a pale silhouette stares down at you, eyes glowing. The ghost's grin stretches impossibly wide. You swallow hard. The world feels hollow. Something inside you shifted on those warped floors. You know you can never unsee what happened. You glance at your watch. 3:09 a.m. 2 minutes after. The clock in Ward C remains frozen at 3:07. Your pulse pounds in your ears. You step away. But as you leave, you swear you hear the whisper again, carried on the wind. I will follow you home. The lantern's beam cuts through the fog like a blade. You climb the spiral staircase of the Thorn Point Lighthouse at the stroke of 3:07 a.m. Every step moans beneath your weight. Salt water drips from the ceiling, pooling in the cracks. You reach the lantern room and push open the iron door. A chill wind greets you, carrying a faint echo of foghorn blasts you've never heard before. You should be alone, but something doesn't feel right. You steady yourself against the railing. Below, the sea churns like boiling oil. The waves crash against jagged rocks, each impact sending mist skyward. You grip the cold metal post and glance at the brass clock on the wall. Exactly 3:06. 1 minute until the appointed hour. You breathe deeply, tasting salt and decay. They call this keeper's shift the last watch. Decades ago, Keeper Alden vanished here on a night just like this. He reported seeing a phantom ship drifting in the haze, its sails tattered and dripping black water. He died before dawn, found crumpled at the lighthouse's base, eyes wide with terror. No explanation. No farewell. Locals whisper that his spirit still mans the watch, doomed to relive that night forever. You don't believe in ghosts. Your lens captures only what's real. But storms and sea whispers can play tricks on the mind. Your camera sits on a crate beside you, recording every second. You double-check its power. It's fully charged. Good. You set it to time-lapse, angle aimed at the horizon. If anything appears, you'll capture it. The minute hand crawls forward. 3:07 a.m. You swallow, heart pounding. The lantern's light swings into position. You grip the railing tighter. The beam illuminates a distant shape, a ghostly vessel drifting without wake. Its hull is charred black, sails shredded into spectral tatters. No living crew. The fog rolls around it like living breath. You check your camera. Red, wreck, blinks steadily. You focus the lens, zooming in. The ship grows closer, gliding smoothly over waves that shatter on the reef. You hear the siren's song, a low, ragged chant carried on the wind. It's ancient and mournful. It seeps into your bones. You shiver despite your jacket. A sudden gust slams the lantern door shut behind you. You spin, wrenching it open. The chain rattles in the dark. You step back, breathing hard. When you turn again, the phantom ship has vanished. No hull, no sails, just empty fog. Your pulse races. You rub your eyes. Was it a trick of light, heat haze? But the siren's song clung to your ears. You shine your flashlight toward the staircase. Dust motes swirl in the beam. The metal steps below are slick with moisture, no signs of footprints. Whoever closed that door wasn't wearing boots. Or they're the same feet that never left this tower. You lean in, peering out through the glass panes. The sea looks empty. You scan for the ship, only waves dancing under your beam. You turn your head to lean on the railing and freeze. A figure stands behind the railing's opposite side. Battered oilskin coat, wide-brimmed hat, a lantern flickering in one skeletal hand, the face hidden in shadow. Your breath hitches. You whisper, "Keeper Alden?" No answer. The figure raises the lantern, pointing it toward you. The light inside blazes unnaturally bright, burning through the fog. The beam hits your chest, and you step backward, heart pounding. The hat tips up. Beneath, hollow sockets stare at you where eyes should be. A crackling voice echoes in your mind. The fog. It never ends. The phrase warps around you, vibrating in the air, as if the lighthouse itself is speaking. You lunge forward, about to bolt down the stairs. Then the figure steps aside. The lantern's beam shifts toward the horizon. You follow the light with your gaze. There on the sea, an entire fleet appears. Ghost ships fill the mist in every direction, sails billowing, hulls encrusted with barnacles decades old. A silent armada drifting toward you. The foghorn blasts once. Then again, the sound reverberates through the tower's metal ribs. Each blast comes faster, building into a deafening roar. The lantern room's windows shatter outward, glass ripping in shards. You shield your face. A wave of cold air rushes in, throwing papers and seaweed across the floor. You stagger, trying to regain balance. The clock's hands spin wildly, turning back and forth between 3:07 and 3:08. You hear water sloshing overhead, almost as though the room is underwater. Then the lantern figure whispers, "Hold the light." The voice is brittle, like dry bones brushing together. You don't dare disobey. You stumble toward the lantern's mechanism. It's powered by a battered kerosene canister. The wick hisses like a living thing. You grasp the lever and push. The lantern flame surges, casting long shadows that twist and warp across the walls. The ghostly armada pauses. You see their decks crowded with skeletal mariners, masts groaning under stormless wind. The figures on deck wave lanterns hollowed from skulls. You feel their hungry gazes. They hunger for warmth, life. A wave of compulsion grips you. You want to climb into one of those spectral longboats, to join their endless voyage beyond the horizon. You shake your head, voice caught in your throat. You must resist. The cold grips tighter, squeezing your lungs. You stumble back from the lantern, spilling kerosene across the floor. The oil splatters like dark blood, seeping into cracks. The skeleton lantern figure advances. It taps the handle of your flashlight, sending it skittering across the metal grate floor. You slide to the wall, pressing your back against cold stone. The figure reaches out, bony hand curling toward you. You close your eyes, bracing for the touch. A thunderous crack echoes as lightning splits the sky outside. The tower shudders. Your camera falls from the crate, lens smashing. Everything crashes to the floor in a cacophony. You cover your ears. When you look up, the skeleton lantern figure is gone. Only the swirling fog remains, pressing against the shattered windows. You stagger to the railing. The ghost fleet is gone. No ships, no sirens, just endless, empty waves. The clock hangs silent at 3:07. You glance down the staircase. Moonlight glints on a brass nameplate. Alden Keeper, 1864. The letters are fresh, carved deep. You kneel and run your finger through the date. The engraving is still warm. A sudden gust extinguishes the lantern flame. Total darkness. You scramble upward toward the door only to find the staircase has vanished. No steps. Just an open shaft, leading straight down, deeper than you've ever seen. The oily mist curls at the bottom, beckoning. You step forward, heart hammering. The words you heard before whisper again, "Come home." You find yourself at the edge of the abandoned Millhaven rail yard just before 3 o'clock a.m. Fog drapes the metal tracks like a funeral shroud. You guessed you'd be alone. Locals avoid this place after sundown. But tonight, a rumor brought you here. At 3:07 a.m., a phantom train materializes, carrying passengers who vanish by dawn. Your boots crunch on gravel. The old depot looms ahead, windows boarded, paint peeling. You shine your flashlight through a gap between planks. Inside, rusted benches line the platform. You step through the broken door and feel the temperature plummet. The hairs on your neck prick. You check your watch. 3:05 a.m. 2 minutes until the hour. You set your backpack down and turn on the handheld recorder. Test. Test. The light blinks red. Good. You adjust your position near the edge of the platform, where the tracks dip into a tunnel eaten by darkness. Wind whispers through the gap. You tilt your head, listening. Distant rumbling? No, just creaking wood. A gust rattles the depot boards. You take a deep breath. At 3:06, you catch movement at the tunnel's mouth, an ember of light. You raise your camera and focus. The ember grows brighter, a headlamp cutting through the black. A low rumble shakes the ground. The tracks tremble beneath your feet. You back away, heart hammering. Out of the tunnel emerges a steam engine, unlike any you've seen. Its boiler caked in grime, wheels caked with mud. The headlamp is cracked, flickering like a dying eye. No whistle. Yet you hear its spectral hiss, steam escaping in ragged spurts. The train glides onto the platform, metal groaning in protest. You train your torch on the windows. Opaque, stained with decades of neglect. Dim shapes move inside passengers in early 1902 attire. A woman in a high-collared dress clutches a parasol. A man in a bowler hat lowers his head. A child peers out, pale face pressed against the glass. None seem to notice you. A distant bell tolls somewhere. Clank, clank, clank. You click record. "It's here," you whisper. Your voice trembles. You inch closer. The steel hiss intensifies. You see the engineer in the locomotive cab, face hidden beneath a soot-blackened cap. His eyes glow with ember light. You should retreat. No living being travels this line. Tracks collapsed years ago beyond the yard. Yet here it stands, fully formed. The carriage doors swing open with a creak that echoes like a scream. Steam billows out, enveloping the platform. The air turns foul like burning coal in old ash. You cough. From within, a figure steps forward. The woman in the Victorian dress descends slowly. She floats rather than walks, hem of her gown never touching the ground. She stops 3 paces from you. Her face, when it turns toward you, is featureless skin stretched smooth like porcelain. No eyes, no nose, just blankness. You freeze. She raises a gloved hand and beckons. Your pulse throbs. You know better than to comply. Still, your legs move on their own. You take a step forward. The recorder falls silent. You look down. Its battery pack is smashed. Wires spit sparks. You kick it aside, heart pounding. The woman tilts her head, listening for something you can't hear. She reaches into her dress pocket and retrieves a tarnished pocket watch. It dangles from a chain, ticking and ticking and ticking. You glance at your watch. 3:07 a.m. The woman's pocket watch shows the same time. She opens it. The crystal face is spider-webbed with cracks. Inside, a photo, a family portrait, smiling faces faded to gray. The woman touches the photo tenderly, then snaps the watch shut. A sharp click rings loud in the hush. She lifts her arm again, pointing at the tracks. You follow her gesture. Down the platform, the next carriage door swings open. The child from inside steps out, totters toward the edge of the platform, eyes fixed on you. You hold your breath. It stops 3 feet away. You see tears glistening on its cheeks. It reaches out, whispering, "Help me." Your throat goes dry. You realize the child's feet never touch the ground. It floats 2 inches above the planks. The woman in the dress nods, as if commanding obedience. The engineer's whistle blasts without sound, reverberating inside your skull. You stagger backward. The fog thickens, swallowing your vision. You turn to run, but the depot door slams shut. Splinters crack under the force. Panic claws at you. You jam your shoulder into the door. It holds firm. You pound with fists, adrenaline pulsing. "Let me out," you shout. No answer, only the train's hiss. Through the fog, you glimpse more shapes, stepping off the carriages, passengers lining the tracks like mournful statues. They stand perfectly still, staring ahead, waiting for departure. You can't tell if they're real or specters. Your rational mind screams, "This is impossible." Suddenly, the train bell rings deep and hollow. The carriage's doors slam shut. The engine's wheels squeal. The train surges forward, but it doesn't move. Instead, the carriages bend and warp, metal contorting, as if the entire train is folding in on itself. Steam erupts in a plume that blacks out the moonlight. You stagger from the platform into the yard. The fog banks swirl, revealing nothing, no train, no tracks, only the crumbling depot behind you. Your recorder lies at your feet, wires frayed. You crouch and pick it up. You press play. Silence. You tilt your head, no playback. A distant whistle blows. You spin, heart in throat. There it is again, achingly soft but jarringly close. You shine your flashlight down the tracks. Concrete and weeds replace steel rails. No train. No tunnel. Just the empty path. You hear a child's laughter echo off the depot walls. Faint, then closer. You follow the sound to the old ticket booth. Inside, you find the pocket watch from the woman lying on the counter. You pick it up. The lid is closed. You open it. The photo is gone. Inside, black mold spreads across the silver surface. A low rumble shakes the ground. You back away as the depot roof groans. You spin toward the entrance, and the door is gone. In its place, swirling fog pulses, revealing silhouettes of passengers raising lanterns. The woman's featureless face emerges from the mist. She stands just beyond your reach. She holds out her hand. The pocket watch dangles from your trembling fingers. The watcher's voice whispers behind your ear, "Join us." You feel a pull as though gravity reverses. Your feet lift off the ground. You float forward toward the phantom train. You scream, but no sound comes. The lantern lights flare in multitudes. You pass through the swirling mist and discover you stand inside a carriage. The door slams behind you. Dark figures face inward, vacant eyes fixed on a distant point. You are among them. You glance down. Your attire has changed to a blackened conductor's uniform. Your skin chills as realization hits. You have become part of the midnight journey. The train lurches, rattling through the darkness. You hear the engineer's hollow voice. "Next stop, eternity." You cross the threshold into the dilapidated workshop, just as your watch clicks 3:07 a.m. The wooden floorboards groan under your weight. A single bare bulb overhead swings, casting long, twitching shadows across heaps of broken porcelain and tangled fabric. You should have stopped at the asylum, or the lighthouse, or the train. But something pulled you here. The legend of the dollmaker's midnight guests. Enterprising townsfolk once called him Emil Saar, an artisan renowned for creating lifelike dolls so perfect collectors paid fortunes. But rumors whispered darker secrets. Children vanished, their laughter swallowed by the night, until only eerily animated dolls remained. They say Saar abandoned the workshop decades ago after a series of child disappearances. Now, at 3:07 a.m., the dolls awaken. Your flashlight's beam lands on a workbench strewn with half-finished dolls. Limbs stiff as branches jut from gnarled hands. Faces lie painted, eyes glassy, lips parted in silent screams. You step closer. A doll's head, skin the color of old ivory, rolls toward you. You startle. It stops, perfectly upright, and stares back. The eyes are too alive. You blink. The head tilts in curiosity. You swallow. Voice caught in your throat. You whisper, "Is someone here?" No reply. Only the bulb sways with age. Old resentment. Dust motes drift through the light's cone, and you realize the room smells of mildew and rotting cloth. You sweep the beam across the shelves. Rows of dolls stand shoulder to shoulder, staring, waiting. A drawer beneath the bench slides open on its own. You lean down. Inside, dozens of porcelain hands, each sculpted in a gesture, pleading, beckoning, grasping. You count 18. You had heard Sar's original workshop housed exactly 18 dolls. 18 missing children, they said. When the drawer snaps shut, the bulb flickers. The temperature drops. You hear soft footsteps, tiny, deliberate. Your flashlight darts toward the source. A puddle of wax melts on the floor. Shapes emerge at first, indistinct forms of cloth and porcelain glued to fragile wire frames. You back away. The dolls move into the beam, limping, puppet-like. One raises its hand and taps its head. You freeze. Your rational mind races. Perhaps local pranksters staged this. But the craftsmanship is masterful. The faces are unique, too distinct to be mass-produced toys. Each doll mirrors a childhood expression. Wonder, sorrow, mischief. You feel their gaze pressing into your skull. A doll in a tattered sailor suit steps forward. It stands too still, torso rigid, head cocked. Its glass eyes reflect your flashlight as if alive. You scope for exits. The workshop's only door shuts with a soft click. You're trapped. You lift the beam toward the workbench. On its edge sits Sar's journal, leather-bound, cracked. You inch closer and slide a finger across the cover. It creaks open to yellowed pages. A single entry is scratched on the last page. At 3:07 a.m., they return for their vessels. You gasp. You stare at a crudely drawn sketch. Children's silhouettes merging with porcelain dolls. A crossout reads, "Never again." You snap the journal shut and whirl. The dolls have advanced 3 paces. They encircle you in a tight semicircle. Their gazes never waver. A lullaby drifts from deeper in the workshop, a child's melody on a broken music box. The sound warps oddly, speeding up and slowing in sync with your heartbeats. You follow the notes. Around a hulking wooden cabinet, the music box sits on a pedestal. Its wind-up key turns itself. The tiny ballerina spins, skirt fluttering, but it's not alone. Tiny dolls stand beside her, hands folded in prayer. Your breath catches. You reach for the music box, fingers brushing cold metal. A screech echoes behind. You spin. On the opposite wall, countless doll heads mount pegs like trophies. Their eyes track your every move. Each head's expression changes: fear, anger, pity. You feel suffocated by their silent judgment. You pocket the music box. The melody warps, slowing until it's distorted, almost monstrous. You shine the light on the workshop door. It's locked from the outside. Panic claws at you. You pound the door. No response. Then the doll in the sailor suit tilts its head and whispers, "Play with me." Your heartbeat roars in your ears. You lift the music box and wind it further. The ballerina dances. You hold the lid open inside. The painted walls of a tiny nursery. A scene. 18 doll figures at play. One likeness matches the sailor-suited doll before you, exactly. Goose flesh crawls across your arms. The music box clicks to a stop. Silence. The dolls snap into motion. They lunge toward the lid. You slam it shut and shove it into your backpack. They swarm around you like locusts, porcelain limbs clicking. Your flashlight falls to the floor, beam bouncing across the walls. You scramble to pick it up. When you look up, they formed a solid wall, aligned perfect rows of porcelain faces, mocking you. Your breathing quickens. You step back until you hit the cabinet. Behind it, a narrow crawl space reveals itself where a panel shifted. You pry it wider, just enough to slip through. The dolls hiss soft. Grinding sounds like gears slipping. You drop the flashlight and squeeze through the gap. You crawl on your stomach. Splinters cut your arms. The crawl space stretches back into darkness. The music box's melody bleeds through the wall, faint but persistent. Your fingers trace up the inner wall. At the end, you find a hatch. You heave it open and emerge into a narrow alley behind the workshop. You gasp as cold night air floods your lungs. The workshop door creaks open behind you. The dolls gather in the doorway, forming a silent choir. They stare, unsmiling. The glow from the music box in your pack casts dancing shadows across the brick wall. A single doll stands forward. The sailor, suited figure, chin raised, its glass eyes glimmer. It tilts its head. "Stay," it whispers in a hollow voice. You take a step back. The wall behind you is solid brick. No exit. The alley extends in both directions. You weigh your choices. Forward may lead into the darkness. Back leads to dolls, awaiting your return. Your hand shakes as you lift the music box and wind it. The ballerina begins her twirl again. The dolls' vacant faces soften. The row of heads on pegs behind them release a collective sigh like wind through cracks. The music speeds up, warps upward. The dolls step aside, revealing one path into deeper gloom. You swallow hard. You clutch the music box and walk forward, every step echoing. The dolls watch through the workshop windows, frozen in place as the door closes. The lullaby warbles in your backpack. You don't look back. Up ahead, a faint glow pulses between the alley bricks. You approach, heart pounding. The glow brightens its SARS workshop sign, flickering to life. The battered letters spell Imel Sar Master Dollmaker in blood-red neon. The door swings outward. The warmth of yellow light spills onto the cobblestones. You stand at the threshold. The dolls' voices whisper through the walls. Your vessel awaits. The door creaks. You step inside. You're jolted awake by your phone's display, flickering to 3:07 a.m. You froze, hand hovering inches above the screen. It's an unknown number. You shouldn't answer, but something pulls you in. A raspy voice whispers through the line. "You're next." Then silence. Your pulse thunders. You swipe to answer, but the call ends. You tap call back. The line rings twice and clicks dead. You stare at the blank screen. Your mind replays the voicemail. 2 words, but laden with threat. Who? Why? You slide out of bed and cross the dark apartment. Moonlight spills through blinds, stripes dancing on the hardwood. You duck low, voice barely a breath. Who is this? You dial the number again. No response. You thumb home and call your partner. Phone goes straight to voicemail. Of course it's 3 a.m. Your apartment feels suddenly exposed. Every shadow a lurking presence. You edge toward the living room window, gaze drifting to the empty street. No silhouette, no headlights, just silent asphalt. You check your watch, 3:08 a.m. You exhale. The worst part, the number is local, untraceable on caller ID. You punch it into your laptop, no records. It's as though it arrived from nowhere. You recall the urban legend. On certain nights, at 3:07 a.m., a voice calls with prophecies. They say the caller predicts your death. You always hang up. Those who didn't, they vanished within days. Friends you can't remember exactly, someone at your high school. But this is you. You hide under covers for the next hour, listening for chatter, footsteps, any hint of breach. At 4:07 a.m., you drift to uneasy sleep and dream of a faceless figure leaning over your bed, raspy whisper chilling your ear. Tomorrow, you wake to sunrise, shaking and sweating. Daylight offers false comfort. You go through routine coffee, news, commute. The city hums to life. You chalk it up to prank. Yet unease clings to you like a wet cloak. Each notification startles you. You phone your partner at work. They answer, voice ending in concern. You sound awful. You brush it off. Morning bleeds into afternoon. You see a headline. Local woman found dead. Same street. 2 blocks over. Cause: heart attack. Unnatural. She was 29. Date on body cam. Yesterday at 3:07 a.m. Your blood turns to ice. 2 blocks from your apartment. Pattern emerges. You recall the woman's name. Jessica Klein, your ex's friend. You didn't pick up the call last night. Were you meant to? You should call the police. You do. Detective Marlowe listens. He's polite but skeptical. Coincidence, he says. Heart attacks happen. You press him. 3:07 a.m. Unheard of. He sighs. Timing isn't evidence. He marks the call. You hang up. He'll never call back. That night, you leave your phone across the room, screen down. You pretend you're asleep. But at exactly 3:07 a.m., you hear a chill ringtone across the floor. Your heart stops. You scramble out of bed. You pick it up. The same number. Caller ID, blank. You swallow. You can't not answer. You tap answer. The line crackles. The raspy voice returns. You had a warning. You press for more. What warning? Who are you? Static. Then the voice relents. Look outside. You sprint to the window. Rain pounds the street. A lone figure in a trench coat stands under a flickering street lamp. They turn, facing your window. They lift their arm wrist, twisting. A watch face glints. It reads 3:07 a.m. You drop the phone, fumbling to pull back the curtain. The figure takes a step toward the building, face obscured by hat brim. You back away, chest tight. You grab the phone again. Its dead battery drained from the previous night. You glance back. The figure dissolves into shadows, footsteps splashing away. Your throat goes dry. You flick on every light. The apartment brightens. You check windows, doors, locked. But the storm rages outside. You can't ignore the warning. You had a warning. You pace. You consider leaving town. But where can you go where it's not 3:07 a.m.? You spend the day scouring online forums. Others have reported midnight callers, voices that predict their fate, patterns, always at 3:07 a.m., always with grim prophecy, always followed by tragedy within 72 hours. You scan social posts, no names, just clipboards of times and broken promises. Few details, a handful of threads, but enough to confirm you aren't alone. Determined, you set a trap. You buy a burner phone, leave your primary in a Faraday bag. You install a call tracking app on the new phone. You program it to record calls, capture incoming numbers. You plan to wait at home tonight. No distractions. No distractions. Night arrives. You brace yourself, mind racing. You place the burner on the coffee table, open with dialer ready. You watch the clock, 3:05 a.m. The apartment is silent, except for rain rattling the windows. 3:06 a.m. You feel a pulse at your throat. 3:07 a.m. Your phone vibrates. You leap and hit answer immediately. Silence. You adjust the phone, earpiece crackles. Then the rasp. You're running out of time. You hold the phone closer. Who are you? The voice pauses, then sighs. I am the messenger. You frown. Messenger of what? The caller laughs, a hollow, tattered sound. Of truths you cannot bear. Your pulse quickens. Tell me. The static surges. The caller's tone drops. In 48 hours, you will face what you summoned. You leap up. I summoned nothing. They rasp. You did. You lit the beacon. You clutch your chest. The phone slips. You catch it. Glance at the screen. Still connected. What beacon? The caller's voice softens, almost pitying. The film you found. The asylum tape. The abandoned asylum recording you discovered last month? You remember footage at 3:07 a.m. Ward C scream. You played it at a house party. The tape spread online. You never thought anything beyond views. The caller continues. You unleashed it. A beat. Now it hunts. Your blood runs cold. What hunts me? They answer. Fear itself. The line goes dead, no click, no hang-up. Just silence. The app registers. Call disconnected unexpectedly. No number captured. You lean against the wall, trembling. You check your watch. 3:08 a.m. You dash to the window, just darkness and rain. You stumble back. You slam lights on, unplug devices, throw everything you can into the microwave, laptop, phone, camera. If you can erase the tape, maybe the curse ends. You fire up your laptop, log into cloud storage, delete every file related to the asylum tape. You empty your recycling bin. You clear the web cache. You purge the party video. You're thorough. Exhausted, you collapse onto the couch. The storm outside subsides. You glance at the phone. The burner screen glows a single notification. New voicemail. You feel sick, but open it. The playback icon taunts you. You press play. A slow, distorted breathing, then a child's laughter. You jolt forward as the laughter warps into the raspy voice. You can't hide forever. Silence. Then a final whisper. I'll see you soon. The voicemail ends. Your heart pounds out a frantic rhythm. You throw the phone across the room. It shatters against the wall. You chase after it, but something blocks your path. The room's air has thickened. You spin. In the flicker of failing streetlight through the window, you see a figure standing at the edge of the living room, tall, indistinct, head tilted. You gasp. You flick on a lamp. The figure vanishes. You reach for your phone, gone from the floor. In its place, a cracked pocket watch, face frozen at 3:07 a.m. You stare, mouth dry. Your reflection in the window wavers behind you, and for one horrifying moment, it smiles back with eyes you don't recognize. The pocket watch burns cold in your palm, its cracked face unmoving at 3:07 a.m. Your breath hitches. You step back and stumble against the coffee table. The shards of the shattered burner phone crunch under your shoe, but there's no trace of the phone itself, only the watch. You choke out a laugh. This can't be happening. A slow, childlike sob drifts from the bedroom doorway. You freeze. Your heart hammers against your ribs. You grip the watch's chain and follow the sound. Each step a dagger of dread. The bedroom door stands ajar. You push it open. Moonlight spills over a pale form hunched on the floor. A little girl, soaked from the rain that seeped through the broken window. Her nightgown clings to her, water dripping onto the carpet. She doesn't look at you, just rocks and weeps, hands clasped in prayer. You swallow hard. Hey, are you okay? You crouch, voice gentle. The crying stops. The girl lifts her head. Her eyes, sunk in sockets, hold nothing but empty darkness. Her lips part in a silent moan. She stands but doesn't blink. Your skin crawls. Who are you? The words scrape from your throat. She tilts her head, as if listening to a distant echo. Then she speaks in a whisper that fills the room. I'm lost. Lost? You fumble for comfort. What do you need? The girl's head turns toward the window. You follow her gaze past torn curtains. The alley below lies bare. No footprints, no sign of her entrance. You realize she walked through walls. The girl's voice trembles. I wait for my mother. Anxiety twists your stomach. Where is she? The child's head lowers. She steps forward, dragging bare feet across splintered wood. Each step leaves a pale, wet footprint. You step back, but your leg knocks against a nightstand. The watch in your hand rattles. Its cracked minute hand spins rapidly, then stops again 3:07. You glance at the girl who now hovers closer. Tears stream down her translucent cheeks. She holds out a chubby hand. Help me find her. Your chest tightens. You want to run, but pity roots you in place. Okay, you whisper. I'll help. You slip the watch into your pocket. The girl's face brightens if a hollow skull can brighten. She takes your hand. Skin is ice cold. The room temperature plummets. Your breath clouds. Together, you leave the bedroom. The hallway stretches endlessly, a distorted mirror of your own apartment. Doors line the corridor, some ajar, others barred. The girl glances up. This way. She leads you down twisting passages, walls bleeding dark stains. You pass through a door marked Ward C on a peeling plaque. You remember the asylum, the scream at 3:07 a.m. You squeeze the girl's hand. This isn't your home. She doesn't answer. Instead, she guides you deeper until you emerge in a room of rusted hospital beds. The moonlight through broken windows glints on metal rails. Your heart thunders. You've returned to the asylum. Yet you never left your apartment. The girl steps between beds, pointing to one corner. She's here. Your flashlight somehow, in your other hand, suddenly powers on. Beam illuminates the bed. A shape under tattered sheets stirs. You approach. Beneath the thin sheet, a woman lies, curled a mother, you realize, waiting for her child. Her face is covered in bruises, eyes swollen shut. You place a hand on her shoulder. Her skin is warm alive. You kneel and whisper, I'm here to help. She mumbles unintelligible words. The child ghost tugs your hand. Please, she begs. Wake her. panic claws at you. You look from the girl to the mother. The woman doesn't shift. The girl's voice cracks. She's alive, but she can't wake. You lift the sheet. The mother's chest rises once, shallowly. A noise high-pitched laughter echoes. You shine your light across the bed. The mother's eyes snap open, black voids staring into nothing. She smiles, mouth splitting into a grin too wide. She reaches up, fingers curling into talons. "My baby," she hisses. You leap backward as her form twists, bones cracking. The girl's grip tightens. "Mama?" Her voice breaks. The woman's eyes follow her. Then she shrieks, tearing at invisible restraints. You stumble back as the mother lunges, ghostly tendrils lashing out. You raise your flashlight like a shield. The beam cuts through the darkness, freezing the apparition mid-reach. You look down at the girl's hand in yours. The warmth is gone. Her flesh slips away, revealing porcelain bone. The watch in your pocket pulses like a heartbeat. You wrench it out. Its face glows, numbers spinning backward. You remember the caller's words. You lit the beacon. You twist the watch's winding mechanism. It clicks. The glow flares. You hold the light toward the mother's form. Her snarling face contorts, then pans out of focus. The room trembles. Dust rains from the ceiling. You clutch the girl's hand tight. "Hold on," you whisper. The watch glows brighter, a beacon in the gloom. The mother's shape quakes, then disintegrates into a storm of dust and darkness. You stagger back as her screams fade. The girl's porcelain hand pulses, fingers reforming into soft flesh. Her sobs turn into giggles as her skull face smooths into a cherubic child's visage. The beds decay into broken floorboards. The asylum walls peel away, revealing your apartment around you, the bedroom doorway where you found the girl. You blink. You're inside your home again. The girl stands in your living room, alive for the first time. Morning light peeks through the blinds. 6:00 a.m. She looks at you, eyes bright. "Thank you." You kneel and pick her up, rocking gently. She snuggles into your arms. You hear sirens outside. Police? Paramedics? It doesn't matter. You hold her close, tears in your eyes. You're safe now. She gives a soft laugh, then leans back to reveal the pocket watch around her wrist, your watch. Sized small on her arm. The minute hand ticks forward, inch by inch. She points at it. "Keep the time." Then she melts into light, dissolving between your fingers, leaving only her laughter echoing in your ears. You stand alone in your living room, the watch held tight. You step outside into dawn. The street is calm, no sign of yesterday's storm. A mother rushing past with her child. You blink. You breathe the fresh air. The curse, the stories, the ghosts at 3:07 a.m., all has ended. You check the watch. 6:14 a.m. The cracked glass is whole again. The numbers move normally. You let out a shuddering breath. Then you pocket it. Some doors should never be opened. But tonight, you closed one. You walk away, sunlight guiding you home.